All right, let's dive into a real masterclass in business strategy. We're going to unpack the incredible story of how a homegrown Indian startup took on the mighty Amazon and, well, actually won.
So, how on earth did they pull it off? I mean, how does a company that literally started in a Bangalore apartment outsmart a global giant like Amazon? A company with seemingly endless cash and a playbook that's worked everywhere else.
You see, the answer isn't just about having a better website or cheaper prices. It's way, way deeper than that. In a market like India, you need to understand the culture, the anxieties, the local quirks. And this is the story of how Flipkart nailed it.
Okay, so first things first, we need to set the stage. You have to understand the battlefield here. The Indian e-commerce market isn't just another region on a map. It's one of the biggest digital gold rushes of our lifetime.
Just how big are we talking? Get this. By 2030, the Indian e-commerce market is projected to be worth an absolutely staggering $325 billion. That's not just a market, that's a phenomenon. And in this massive gold rush, you've basically got two main contenders. On one side, you have Amazon, the global juggernaut, showing up with a massive war chest and its one-size-fits-all model. And on the other side, Flipkart, the local hero, started back in 2007 by a couple of guys, Sachin and Binny Bansal, selling books. Talk about a David and Goliath story. Flipkart's first and probably its most important challenge was solving what you could call the trust deficit. Because back in the day, the idea of paying a website for something you couldn't even see or touch, well, for most Indians, that just felt way too risky. So that was the fundamental question, right? How do you build this huge online empire in a country that runs on cash and is just, deeply skeptical of online payments? Flipkart's genius was that they didn't try to fight that skepticism. They leaned into it. And here's their brilliant three-part formula for building trust. First, the absolute masterstroke, introducing cash on delivery, or COD. Then, to kill any lingering doubt, they launched a 30-day no-questions-asked return policy. And finally, they wrapped it all in a super simple, easy-to-use website. They just systematically broke down every single barrier to trust. As business coach Rahul Malodia puts it, cash on delivery was a total game changer. It completely removed the risk for the customer. The message was crystal clear. You don't pay us a single rupee until the product is physically in your hands. It was such a simple solution to a really complex cultural problem. Now, what's really fascinating is looking at how things have changed. Today, digital payments like UPI are totally king, making up more than a third of all transactions. Cash on delivery is still important, for sure, but it's not the top dog anymore. And this is the key thing to remember, we only got to this digital-first world because Flipkart built that initial bridge of trust using good old-fashioned cash. COD was the gateway that got an entire nation hooked on shopping online. Okay, so Flipkart solves the trust problem. Awesome. But then comes the next monster of a problem, actually getting the packages to people's doors. We're talking about one of the most logistically complicated countries in the world. This was the battle for the last mile. And this wasn't some minor annoyance. This was the #1 complaint for online shoppers. Late deliveries were killing the trust they had worked so hard to build. Relying on a bunch of different third-party couriers just wasn't going to work. So what did Flipkart do? Their answer was simple. If you can't rely on anyone else, do it yourself. They built their own logistics powerhouse, eCart. By launching their own delivery arm, they took complete control of the whole process, from the warehouse to your doorstep. This was the engine that made promises like next-day delivery a reality. All right, so they've built the trust, they've figured out how to deliver the goods. Now for the final piece of the puzzle, winning over the hearts, minds, and, the shopping carts of millions of Indians. And this is where they really, truly left Amazon in the dust. Their marketing wasn't some copy-paste from a global template. It was deeply and authentically Indian. They invented Big Billion Days, which wasn't just a sale. It became a national event, like a festival. Their quirky ads with kids dressed as adults were everywhere. And critically, they thought beyond the big cities, building an app that worked on slow networks and actually spoke to people in their own languages. So, did it all work? Oh yeah, it worked. Big time. A whopping 42% of their users first heard about them on social media. That's all the proof you need that their digital-first, culturally focused strategy was a massive success. So you build trust, you conquer logistics, and you win the hearts of the people. What does that all add up to? Well, the results are Pretty jaw-dropping. And here it is, the real kicker. When you ask Indian shoppers which platform they prefer, it's not even close. Nearly 57% choose Flipkart. Amazon is a distant second with just over 23%. That is what you call a dominant lead.
They also won the all-important perception game. Almost half of all shoppers believe Flipkart is just flat out cheaper. And in a price-sensitive market like India, that perception is pure gold.
This table breaks it all down perfectly. You can see their totally different strategies side by side. Flipkart went for the masses, focusing on low prices for customers in India's smaller but fast-growing cities. Amazon aimed for the premium customer in the big metros. Two completely different playbooks. And in India, one was the clear winner. And while all this was happening, Flipkart was making some serious power moves in the background. They bought up fashion retailers Myntra and Jabong to completely own that critical category. And it all culminated in 2018 when Walmart bought a majority stake for an incredible $16 billion, officially cementing their status as a true titan. And, through all that massive growth, they never forgot about the customer. Just look at these numbers. Almost 75% of users, 3 out of 4, rate their experience with Flipkart as either good or excellent. That shows their customer-first strategy was the real deal. So in the end, Flipkart's story proves a really powerful lesson, that a deep, authentic understanding of a local market can beat global scale any day of the week. The winner isn't always the biggest, but the smartest. And it leaves you with a really big question. What does this mean for the future of local startups all over the world?